to Talkin TUF podcast with myself, Rob Foster, and Josh Phelps.
So guys, today we are going to cover a few subjects, pointed subjects, obviously the main thing being how Haribo has managed to get me fitter, what it is you should be doing to start on your fitness journey or to restart, for some people who may have just put things on pause, how you can potentially lose that middle-aged spread, as some people like to call it. I don't like the word spread, spread always reminds me of like peanut butter or something. How much cardio do you need to be doing? Do you need to do cardio to lose weight? Because that's a lot of people's thing. And do you have to be sober? Because alcohol seems to be quite a prevalent thing in our lifestyles. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, bad thing. I'm just saying it seems to be a thing that people...
Do we have to be sober, what, in life, or...?
Well, I mean, like, listen, I'm not saying, like, sober doesn't just mean alcohol either as well, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you ideally do not be...
Sober to lose weight,
yeah,
essentially.
I think that's it.
You teetotal, you have to not consume any alcohol or completely abolish that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing that comes up, and we're going to touch on as to why, maybe, and only briefly today, we'll touch on it, maybe in depth for a later date. Talking about alcohol, I mean, something I think we need to bring to the table is that we've been talking about people doing certain things and whatever, and they sometimes you can see PTs, coaches, gymmers as being like, knowing what to do. And if someone's listening that maybe not been to gym, we all have our own fails, right? We have gym fails, and that's something I always find really amusing, listening to people gym fails. So that's what we're going to bring into the show now. Rob, you are seen as someone who's very meticulous and very, driven and pretty much on point with things, right? But I know, I've trained with you for long enough and I've heard the stories. I just want you to share one of your gym fails. So, something that's gone wrong.
Sounds like...
You have got multiple. Don't lie. You've got multiple. Maybe not as many as me, but you've got multiple. All ones you've heard of, but I want to start off with yourself so people know that you're not raw.
My most prevalent one, I suppose, is stupidity, really, and hammers home the fact that you need to obviously lift safely, or at least within your limits, and not get caught out, or at least if you do get caught out, have something there to catch you, right? Safety spotter bars, simple. Back squatting on my own, no safety spotter bars, which if you don't know, they're you set the bars at you're just below your lowest point that you want to get to in a squat or a bench, if you're on a bench press, and you get stuck, you drop the bar, and the bars hold the bar off you, rather than crushing you to death if you're heavy. Obviously, if the bar's heavy enough, it could be pretty bad, right?
I mean, that sounds
bad.
that's going to scare
people. At that point, I was squatting quite a bit. I mean, I had 100, it was double body weight, so about 140 odd kilos on the bar, hit the bottom depth of the squat, got stuck.
Whoa.
And if you've ever back squatted and you've gone past parallel, so your hips are lower than
literally
your knees,
never.
You're not really getting, if it's way too heavy and you've exceeded your muscular capacity to get back up from that angle, there's only one way, there's two ways to go. Bar off backwards, or the bar goes forwards, and you don't want to go forwards because you're literally concertina you in and you're back of the neck. Oh, it looks, people have done it, like you've seen probably YouTube videos. There's one way to get it off the back, really, and that is down your back. And it's like the worst, most extreme foam rolling of your back. Like, it's a steel bar for a start, so it's not soft. And it's not going down a straight back as well because of the angle of where I was at the lower. Obviously, it was back slightly rounded. It literally cracked everything going down. I'm seriously the stiffest back I've had for about a week after that. I mean,
Sounds brutal.
I learned my lesson, and basically, I don't squat heavy without a safety spotter. So no one was there, and no one was there. But I also had the same sort of incident where no one was there. I clean and jerk the bar, so that's basically where you punch the bar, but you clean it to your chest, try and get under the bar as fast as you can, and you've got to get your head back and up under the bar really quickly, and it's like someone's uppercutted me in the chin.
See, this is two fails already. You claiming that when I was saying it was an outrageous claim, you had more than one. This is two straight off the bat.
I know, but they're like manly ones, they're with a bar now. Not like Swiss ball popping or something, or stepping on a treadmill.
Listen, there's no... Listen,
anyway,
it's all
uppercutted by a barbell
equal.
without even, not even seeing it coming. There's many members who've done the same. Like, it just catches you out, and you don't know until it hits you.
Till you wake up again.
Wow, that was pretty sore. And then bruised chin, and no one saw me though, luckily. So empty gym. Always, if you're gonna fail, obviously safely, do it in an empty gym where no one's videoing you.
Well,
There's no security cameras.
You say this, but I'm not going to go into my fail. I think you'll have to wait to hear my fail, but it was an empty gym. There was a camera, and it was not ideal. Put it that way, and it's just not. It's not great, right? But we'll do it, right? And we have to learn our lessons, and it's like anything, right? And it's nice to hear, not funny that you do it, we do it, but obviously, we don't want anyone to be doing it whilst under our supervision, for sure, especially things like that, and that wouldn't happen. But when you buy yourself, things do happen, and it's as long as you come out the other end of it okay, you can have a laugh about it. Some of them are a lot funnier than others. Some sound pretty brutal, like that does, and some are horrendous. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to go down those ones because they're pretty scary.
Sharing fails where people get hurt badly for entertainment isn't really on. But
no.
Stupidity and just being like, I think you will all probably seen the videos of people using machines incorrectly. And
genius. Some of them are genius. Some of them, maybe they are correctly. Maybe
they are doing it for a viral video, right? Just so they can.
Got some of them. You
cannot
got
believe
to think they've got to be doing
seriously. But,
that's it. Anyway, so recently we've taken, apart from having a slick do, a little trim up at the weekend. We finish off that was a big way to finish off a big week. We had a testing week last week. I think we touched base on the last poddy about the testing week. And that was cool. It was successful, right? I think it's been successful. We've had sort of 5 weeks of doing.
That was week 6.
Yeah. So we had 5 weeks of doing a new program. First week was doing a bit of testing at the time, and we had a bit of bit of time training, because we'd had obviously things going on. We were down, we had certain access to things and not certain access, so a bit of maintenance time, and then we cracked on. Had some focus, which is great. Having that focus is a big thing. Having a program to follow is great for you and I. We're good at that, and we're pretty consistent, and we stay consistent to each other. That's been a big game changer. I mean, Friday was not cool. Friday, to give you a little bit of insight, we did so we do some testing, some heavy lifts, some whatever else, and some conditioning bits, which were like little conditioning tests, and we missed one of them during the week, right? And you know what, we possibly could have, we just ran out of time, we weren't in the right space, we were like, no, we'll catch it up. And if I'm honest with you, come Friday I was like, what, we've got 2 of these Metcons and then there's an additional 1 to throw on at the end. So just a brief breakdown, there was a 10-minute max effort on the air bike, the assault bike, so as many calories as you could in 10 minutes.
Also known as the devil bike for anyone who's been on that.
Yeah.
It's like the devil's tricycle. Apparently that's another nickname for it, which
there's
no way of getting out of it. It's literally.
There's no height on that thing, is there?
You can't even go easy because it resists against the fan resists against you. So 10 minutes on that.
That was then followed by a EMOM, so every minute on the minute we had to do 8 repetitions of a clean and press with a barbell at a set weight, and you have to try and achieve that.
That's 96 reps really, isn't it, if you complete the whole thing?
Yeah.
96 reps.
I didn't complete the whole thing,
You
quite
did
open
stick
about
to
that.
the set weight, but I dropped the weight from the first week because
So,
I didn't complete it.
yeah, and that was a test, right, and I was 8 off the total, so we're going to test it again, so hopefully one day we'll get there, but I had an improvement of 8, and this is where people have got to look at things. I think this is why we do testing, right, of anything, and like, having a metric, strength's a really good one because it's solid, right? There's no, you might have good days, bad days for sure, but it's not just going to be due to the amount of water I've drunk. This is going to change, maybe. I mean, if I haven't drunk anymore, but the reality is it's me shifting the weight in a bar and the effort and the energy. And because I had a target of 80 to beat, I was like, right, I've got to do it, even though, it's Friday, we've just done that, but it's like, right, no, I can do this, and we cracked on, and we grafted through, and I was watching the corner line, and I saw you lifting and shifting, and I was like, it's still going, and that's why I think a training partner is great,
On your own, it's easy to give up.
Well, I don't even think I'd have made the second Metcon. I don't think, after 10 minutes on the air bike, devil's bike, whatever bike, I was like, I'd beaten the last target, so I was blowing, because I had that target to beat, so I beat it. But then I was hanging out, and then you were like, well, we're going to the next one, because we've only got X amount of time. I'm like, see, me, I had 20 minutes rest between them, or I wouldn't have done the second one. Anyway, good to have a partner there, gets me going, got onto it, right, set up, bang, got through, got another 8 repetitions, so I'm feeling pretty magical at this point, majestic, with my noble steed running through. And you then turned around and said, we've got 1 more to do, which I completely forgot about. At that point, I was out. Like, even with you there, I was trying to get out of it, right? And I know that sounds like a quitter's mentality, but when you've just really bust, and these are after the training session, right?
We were almost an hour and a half to 2 hours in.
And then you turn around and go, right, we've got to do this test. And in your head, you're like, no, it's fine. It's, you know, it's after 2 Metcons or whatever and this, so I don't need to beat my last record. You know in your head you want to beat your last record. So it was it 10 minutes or 12 minutes? It was
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
It's purely body weight, but it's
5 pull-ups.
Enough body weight.
10 press-ups. 15 bodyweight squats, as many rounds as you could do. So you keep repeating it straight after. Now, considering we've done the other 2 previously, when we last tested this, we hadn't done those just before. So it was an unfair test. So in my head, I'm selling it to myself. It doesn't matter if I don't beat it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Josh, because you haven't done that before. Well, obviously it mattered, and I didn't want to not be the last one before, but I didn't really know where we're at time-wise. And then you dropped it. It's like 2 minutes left. I was like, oh, I can beat it. And that was it. I was like, right, go.
Yeah.
3 of them back to back. After doing like a push press max effort, front squat max effort, my body, I actually felt fantastic that evening. Like I had like a smile on my face because I felt like I'd pushed myself. Because I've beaten all 3 of those like little records, right? And you know, it is what it is, sort of thing. They're not huge records. They weren't incredible times, no doubt. But for me, I'd done really well, and so I was like really happy, and actually it put me in such a good mood throughout the rest of the day.
I think I played golf Friday night with I felt pretty energised. Like I was powering around. We did 18 holes in 3 hours. That's pretty quick.
That is decent.
That's quick around a long course as well, and weren't hanging about. But yeah, felt pretty good. Saturday played all right.
Yeah.
It was really windy and driving rain as well at some points as well. But,
as you say, like, so that day I felt supercharged. Saturday, right, I needed the rest. My body knew it needed the rest.
Yeah, like hit by a train.
And I was a little bit, I mean, I was probably a little bit lazy. Like, I've done some stuff in the morning, some bits of work, but not really a great deal. Like, definitely didn't train. Went for a bit of a walk, met up with some friends and stuff on a bit of a distance thing. And it was quite what I would describe as a lazy day. Sunday morning, once again, then because I hadn't really done a great deal Saturday, I was like the annoying Sunday morning guy. Like Sue doesn't like me on a Sunday morning, right? Because you wake up and get energy. So exercise for me is good for everybody else. Because if I don't exercise, I'm like, hey, what are we doing? That's without coffee, right? I'm like on it and I need to get going. So it's good. But it was challenging, right, last week. And to fuel it, like I was saying earlier.
Reveal the magic.
Yeah, well, I mean, how did I get fitter, stronger? More
I think it's given away by the first bit of the
kids and grown-ups like this, so for good reason, it makes you stronger and fitter. Yeah. Haribo is like the magical pill that everyone's been searching for years. They've been trying these supplements, but Haribo, man, it's just...
I think, Jelly Babies are a go-to as well, but Haribo had a nickname in the court. So we used to have it have Haribo in the Bergen, in your side pouch of your Bergen for reasons when literally piss wet through. It's just a horrendous time. You're cold. You've got to go out on a patrol or something. Someone cracks open Haribo, so it gives you morale.
Haribo, love that. Yeah. See?
Who's got the Haribo?
Yeah.
However, in hot climates, hot dusty climates, we call it. People, when families send out packages, morale parcels and things. Terrible idea to put Haribo in there. Because what happens? Obviously, it's about 60 degrees in a plane. So in packages and stuff, all compacted in, comes out in one big brick of jelly. You're like, no, it's all melted together. Chocolate melted. Haribo, like a jelly brick. It's like
you obviously still ate it though, didn't you? You just chewed it.
Yeah, just have to like.
What was that like? The Haribo bar?
It's alright, but it's not
the same, is it? The individual.
You don't get like the foamy bit of the egg.
See, this is it. Yeah. You need to be able to separate the hearts and the eggs.
Sugar on like Tang plastics is just gone. Really, it's melted in this.
But so, I mean, right. So we're talking about Haribo, which it sounds pretty ridiculous.
Why would we ever?
Why do you drop it in Haribo?
Why do you promote sweets as?
I mean, am I promoting sweets? I don't know. For me, it kind of. I knew that it sounds silly that I needed some. There's the talk about having carbohydrates around your training, the benefits of that.
Break down what Haribo is really. It's the simplest sugars you can use. Really.
Fast acting sugar, they're just getting into your, it's pretty much...
healthy?
No, I mean, don't give it, you can see, so like a test, give it to your child, they'll just be running around the gaff. But to fuel me right at the time, it's a little bag. So bear in mind, I'm not smashing the whole big bag. I mean, it's 15 grams of Haribo, right? It's pretty much a handful.
They're like micro Haribo, aren't they?
Yeah, the mini-me Haribo. And so had that, did whatever, went in, and whether it's placebo or whatever, maybe it's because of the extra sugars, but I just just felt good, and I got some good lifts, so I stuck with it. But I'm gonna almost be like, right, that can stay for the higher, more active days. I'm gonna be saturated. I'm not gonna be doing that when I'm doing a mediocre sort of 8 to 10 rep hypertrophy workout. Like you're not really pushing, but we were pushing hard that week.
Yeah, there's an argument there about fueling. We've done it before. Had intra-workout carbs.
Any
section,
glycogen stores. It helps replenish.
You may push extra weights for 8 to 10 reps than
you
would have done. But I think you're the same as me. You just look at food as fuel, break it into what it is.
Yeah.
Proteins, fats, and carbs. What do they do? How can they help me? Versus, that's sweets. That's a treat, or this, that, and the other. I mean, it's fine. Yeah. I mean, if you go to cinema, you might be like, let's get a bag of Haribo. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have Haribo at the cinema because we'll do the whole packet. It's about 500 calories. Whereas
easily do that. I'd have to have that with the Maltesers in the bag, popcorn.
Exactly.
I'd do like 4,000 calories and to come out of there still looking for a pizza.
But using it for workouts it's a different thing. It's not seen as like a junk food or something. It's seen as a tool to train harder.
Listen, as I say, I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone they need to start smashing Haribo to get stronger, fitter, and leaner. That's definitely not the case. But it was as I say, it's a tool for fuel, and it felt good, and we did some good stuff last week, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Here's one for people who are trying to obviously lose weight, get leaner. If you think you can add Haribo in and still eat the things you're going to eat anyway, obviously you're going to be probably pushing yourself into a calorie surplus. If you're going to take out the carbs that you were going to have in meals and put Haribo in instead to think you'll train better, then perhaps you want to get more wholesome carbs from potatoes, rice, even breads and pastas to a degree. But don't add them into your diet and think, I'll have those before my HIIT session. Because you're probably going to be just putting in the amount of calories you're going to burn off versus the actual gains you'll get out of
you've got to remember what we're doing isn't after weight loss, right? We're not after weight loss at this moment in time. And that's a big thing, right? A lot of people, I'm still trying to get a lot of people away from just focusing on weight loss the whole time. Obviously there's an element. And this brings on to where do we start, right? Where do we start? Where should I start? If I'm just coming back to training or
weight loss, most people start, right?
That's it. So that's why we're talking about where to start, where to restart.
Probably stopped due to the last few months. How do they restart?
Well, I think like we just mentioned, for us, we almost had a restart, right? We didn't stop. We don't stop. It's kind of our thing, but that's fine. And I'm not saying that's a good, bad, whatever. But we reset, right? And we set up a new program. What did we do? We got a program that we didn't write ourselves, right? Which was a big thing because we will do what we're happy doing and enjoy doing. So there was no way I was getting on the devil bike and doing that, but because it was in our program, because of the way we're set, we knew we would do it. So accountable to each other, so we've got somebody who we're accountable to, and I think that is, I've already said earlier, it was huge for me. Like I'd have done half the amount of things, right?
Roping others so you can see the pain on their face as well. Racing up columns.
Yeah, listen,
Alex, where are you? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Pulling up a trainer, see that you're not the only ones in pain. Having a plan is key, right? I mean, this goes for nutrition and for training. If you don't plan, if you don't plan, if you don't have a step-by-step thing, then you're just going to be winging it. Winging it doesn't really work. I mean, listen, you can get along with certain things here and now, but if you want to make a real difference, you're going to have a game plan, a successful plan, something that works. There's a million and one different things out there, something that works for you as well. Now, I think the beauty of what we maybe are doing at the moment is it's a little bit out of the comfort zone. We also know we're capable of doing it, right? We know it's in the tank somewhere. So if you're like at a point now and you've stopped completely for say the last 12 weeks, you've done stuff in the past, you know what you can do, your capabilities. So don't be going to go, right, well I'm now going to go and do a marathon. If you know that every time you go running, it beats up your body, you feel pain, but this is where I've got to start just by running. Don't know why that is, but everyone seems, I do know why. It's because it's free and it's easy to do. You just put on a pair of shoes and go. But it usually beats up most people's bodies, puts them in bad stead. They end up with aches and pains, feels like they can't do other stuff. Just start off with doing light movements that you've done in the past. Just don't weight them. Maybe do body weight. Start off with partial movements potentially. Build it up gradually and do things that you know you've got the capacity to do that doesn't put you into a point of injury. Right? Don't go 100 miles per hour for sure. Taper back in.
Think about run a half marathon. It doesn't mean you can jump back into doing a half marathon in training.
And it's like you, right? If I said to you at the beginning of this, right, I want you to jump straight underneath that 140 kg bar that rolled down your back before, straight away, well, yeah, you physically could do it and you have done it, but it doesn't mean you can do it right now and after that. Listen to your body, right?
That was probably 6 or 7 years ago, and now if I do it, I definitely feel the cracks and pops and everything occurring.
But as you say, like for somebody who's resetting, look at what you want to get out of it is the biggest thing, right? I think too many people jump into just anything because for whatever reason they don't really think about it. Have a think about what you want to get out of it, right? Look at what you can do currently, what's within your remit, your reams and stuff. Can I get accountability? Because they say, once again, that's key. Can I get the support I need from somebody? So for me personally, it was from yourself, right? It was getting supported to go through and do that. And that, I say, structuring it, planning it, writing it down. You know, we've got times we're going to train, and it's a must. It's a thing we have to do. Once again, as I said, if I don't do this, right, it affects my whole other world, right? When I do it, I often feel fantastic for doing it. Don't get me wrong, 20 minutes afterwards, I'm blowing, right? But I then feel pretty fantastic, and it's good, and it's a great thing to do.
I like the fact that many people who've been training at home, they've finally got hold of a weight and they pick it up and it feels so much heavier. So
this 6 kgs.
You never used to feel this heavy in the gym because you used to lift it often. You've done body weight, so don't think you can go and grab the same weights you used to lift, and then because if people start getting back into gyms very soon and they'll go back to where they were at with their program, I'll just pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
No. And as you say, like,
and it'd be probably their sort of ego and their morale will be smashed by the fact that, you know, X amount of weight, whatever they're going to lift, feels really heavy and actually uncomfortable to lift.
I think right now is a great place to start as well. For those people, we're talking about starting as well.
New Year, really, isn't
because
it? New Year.
New Year.
July is now January.
How often now as well is there going to be a lot of sessions where numbers are reduced? So a lot of places now are going to be reduced in numbers in sessions. We are, right? Which means potentially you're going to get even more potentially coaching. If you're not invested into a smaller group thing or a one-to-one, you might even get more coaching in your larger group things as such. So you know, you're going to get more of a coach's eye on you. You know, you've got that ability to step into a place where there's a lot of other people who are just either starting back or starting. So you're not going to hopefully feel that intimidation of people who've been doing it for years and years and years. It's like everyone's being put the brakes on. So we all get a chance to start. We're all starting at the same level. In a way, maybe not, but do you know what I mean? We're all starting at probably not our fittest, and you can come into a place where there's going to be new, as you say, new years, new normals, whatever you want to call it, and you can be a part of that. And why not? This has got to be the best time to get back into it. You know, summer for a lot of people they thought was cancelled. It's not. I had somebody call me up the other day and talk about their middle-age spread. And it was kind of like, right, as I said this earlier, right, middle-age spread, I don't know why. I don't know why spread. I don't know why spread just doesn't feel good. I don't like that spread. Like
margarine or something.
Weirdly, I don't know, it's just a weird, it just doesn't sit right with me. Like, and I almost picture like a butter knife on someone's belly, which is, when it's in middle-age spread, I'm like, it's a weird thing, right, let's not talk about it. But, so it was like middle-age spread, and it was like, you know, can I get rid of it now? Or like, you know, is it sort of, have I got to a point, it's, you know, I was like, sort of, what do you mean? Just like fat, is it to become a completely different thing after you get to middle age? Like, I've really struggled with this and I just don't sort of find it here. Listen, the age does make things tougher, right? It does. As we get older, even if you go from 20 to 30, it's going to get tougher, right? 30 to 40, 50, 60, it is going to get tougher, right? Things are going against us, unfortunately, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't try if it's not making you happy right now. So when we talk about like the middle-age spread, I mean, you've got different things, right, that are going to affect that. And yes, we are going to be talking about something like calorie deficit. You have to create a calorie deficit to lose weight. Do we get to spot reduce? No. Okay, unfortunately I can't just go, right, that's gone from here,
well, yeah,
you know,
spread to six-pack.
keep it in my booty, you know. Like,
doing sit-ups is not the answer, obviously. So it's diet, it's exercise, but the main point I think really is as we age through life, we get used to certain things like portion sizes, what we eat, how much we eat of certain things, what we do, how little we do of things, and almost you can't seem to go back. It seems like such a jump to go back. Just reduce what you're eating to what you used to eat. Yeah, but it looks so little on the plate. It's because you've got used to eating those foods and you've got used to habits of snacking on high-calorie Haribo and stuff, and just not you kind of lost the. It just takes work, right? That's what I'm trying to get at.
And as you say, like,
it doesn't want to be a horrendous experience as well, because that's why people don't stick at it. So can you lose middle-aged spread such? Yes. Is it going to be easy? No.
That's fair enough, yeah.
So,
you know, you've got there's other factors, right? There's hormones that come into play. Your base metabolic rate, so the energy, you know, if I was just do that, as I like to call a hot dog, all day and not really do anything, naturally, as I get older, I'm going to burn less calories, okay? So, as you were saying, you might eat exactly the same portions. Unfortunately, as you say, they tend to increase a little bit as we get older. They tend to increase, and our natural calorie burning machine, our body, is burning less naturally. So we're potentially increasing our calories, and even if we were to eat exactly the same, we'd still not be in a great place because we have to somewhat reduce, and we tend to move less. The study's done that we tend to move less as we age. You know, I mean, if we're going to go to the extremities, you look at it and you go, right, well, let's look at our grandparents. What are they doing the majority of the day? Unfortunately, they're taking a lot of time sitting down and stuff because, yeah, they have got aches and pains and stuff like that. You do get the up or down, you get some active people, but it just naturally seems to be like, you know, if you've gone from being somebody who's worked physically the whole life, right, and then you stop, maybe you retire and you do the odd bit in the garden, you do whatever, but naturally your everyday little movements are less. You know, you speak to people, unfortunately, who are younger, tend to be more energetic, like I am now, crazy, moving your hands, doing all this sort of stuff. It's very rare you see, and I'm not saying it isn't happening.
There's a generation now who are growing up on the video games, right? They actually chat with headsets on, play against their friends. For hours and hours, and it's you know, I speak to clients and some they actually find it hard to get the kids out of the bedrooms and into play. Like we used to play, you know, that basically come back when the street lights go off. Okay, cool. So you're literally out all day on your bike, the only way to get around. Had no phone, so you had to go and cycle to your friend's house to see if they're coming out to play. It's like you literally live an active lifestyle. Now it's all changed. It's like text. I'll just, whatever.
Yeah, instead of I've got to meet you at the street lamp, or I've got to meet you down at the phone box at 6 o'clock, right? Because I haven't got a thing to do.
I don't know if it's Xbox Live or something, people will tell us, but the headset, they just literally get onto their Xbox or PlayStation and they're with their friends. They're like they would be outdoors, but they're sat on a beanbag, like that, just play.
I'm going to throw something really random out now, right? But one of the lads come up with, because you said one of the lads come up with a game that we used to play. Did you ever play at school? Bench ball. So you had one group of people stood on a bench, they were stood on a bench, and you threw a ball at them on the bench and had to catch it. If they caught it, you were out of hit them. It was a bit like dodgeball, but you stood on a bench thing. Bench ball. Oh, that was a legendary game. Once again, active. Probably not safe these days. Probably not allowed to do it anymore, but it wasn't like they were heavy balls or anything.
It doesn't matter if it hits you in the face, I suppose you're going down. But I think the main point actually we didn't really get on there is what is the best thing then to help lose that middle-aged spread? And yes, it's being active and things, but if you're thinking about training and creating a calorie deficit, a lot of people go to cardio for excess cardio to try and do that. There's only so much you can almost burn before your body starts to then also want to hold on to those calories, and you know it doesn't want to lose weight, it doesn't want to lose fat. We found the best way to do it is structured resistance training, whether that be body weight, ideally with weights of some sort, and heavy resistance training, obviously heavy being relative to your strength, is huge for ramping up your metabolism. We call that, I mean, in general term, really, it's not particularly scientific, but actually getting you to, you know, your body to want more calories, to almost need the nutrients, to absorb things that you eat, and then you need to almost fuel your body for more, and then you can almost get away with eating slightly elevated calorie levels because the training then increases, and it's kind of a snowball effect the right way, if that makes sense.
The thing is with the cardio, right, is people's go-to is running, right? It just is, because you just need a pair of shoes and everyone's got them, and you've got space outside and it's free, and it tends to be the way. And what I was touching on earlier is that, like people say, how much cardio do I need to do to lose weight? You don't need to do cardio as you think of it as cardio.
I think we
when
went
people
through
say
about
cardio,
18 months, did we? We
very
literally
minimal.
weight trained and pretty good shape for.
I mean, heart and lungs, right? Both of us will admit we weren't at our peak. You know, we'd be running about and we'd do a little bit, and we're like, crikey, I'm out of breath. So there are, don't get me wrong, there's benefits, but
couldn't run a marathon. But
we walked, right? We walked regularly, so that was good. You look at our heart and lungs and all that sort of stuff. We did do some CD, not huge amounts, but when people use it as a tool to lose weight, like if you're not comfortable running, to ask you to go running for 45 minutes is going to beat you up something chronic, right? And it's going to be hard, it's going to be uncomfortable, you know, it's not got huge benefits, unfortunately, apart from that lung capacity and halving. Yes, you're going to burn a few calories, but as you say, you could be doing movements that are beneficial for your joint health, your muscular strength, you know, get hypertrophy, which doesn't mean you get jacked, but it just means you're going to look on fighting against that degradation of the muscle growth. You know, you're going to be working on healthy ligament
bones.
health. You know, yeah, exactly.
It's key for older people.
So it's a really, bone density is huge. You know, when you get older and stuff, you know, there's so many more people who are prevalent to tripping, falling and breaking something because they just don't look after their bone density, you know. And osteoporosis comes along, and there's all sorts of different things that can happen that we can prevent by doing resistance training. Yet, by going out and pounding the road, which seems to be people's first go-to to lose weight, if you're overweight and by a little bit more than you should be, a little bit excessive, which, you know, that's not great for you. Putting that compound, that pressure, you know, through that joints, your hips, you're probably feeling your lower back, your ankles, your knees. Actually, you're probably better off walking. My advice would be to someone who feels like they're go for a nice walk. Go and do that. Yeah, perfect.
To walk uphill.
And cause yourself less of a beat up on your body. You'll be able to do it more regularly going through. You know, people come back and they do it. Oh, I've now got shin splints, I've got this, and then it stops you again.
They go to squat and knees hurt, right? Because they've been developed a bad running technique and their ankles rolled in or something, and then now I'm going to try and do a good movement pattern, and it's painful.
And that's why I like coming to a session. Is great because you get the ability to do a warm up, a proper warm up with mobility. Okay, so it's not just static stretching. Okay, we're doing dynamic movements going through. You know, Dave goes out for a run, probably just puts his shoes on and starts running.
I do that.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm saying.
do that once a year or something, and it's terrible.
And then afterwards, you
calves hurt, ankles hurt.
Take your shoes off and sit down because you're out of breath. There's no warming up, there's no preparation, right? There's no movement capacity going throughout the different parts of the body, and then there's no stretching off. So having that structure once again is a great thing to do it, right?
The warm up for runs, when we used to go for troop runs in the Corps, first mile was the warm up, and it was obviously the person taking the run, usually a troop sergeant, was used to call a racing snake. So basically someone who is lean, athletic, fast as, and literally went out the gate. Right, keep up. And you're trying to follow, running like I'd say at least minimum a 7-minute mile pace as a warm up.
That'd be done.
And if you're in the back and you're getting thrashed from being out-tailed there, so you have to be keeping up. Luckily, I was quite a competent runner, so I'm not being asked. And then the pace increased. Maybe do like 6 mile or 10 mile or whatever. The cool down. There's a river near camp, so you jump in the river. It's actually quite nice for the muscles. It's like that ice bath, freezing cold river in there. Back to camp and bang out max effort pull-ups and get showered and you're off to work.
This is why I shouldn't train with you, because you've had exposure to the last
experience.
You have that running, right? My running would potentially be like after playing football, whatever, and then it sounds really silly. What I used to do weirdly, the most running I probably ever did was after having a night out on the drink. I used to run home. What is that about?
Run home in shoes.
Like literally run, like as far. I don't know if anyone else has done this, and please share if you've ever done this. Had a night out on the drink, and then for some reason feel like you're Forrest Gump, and you can run. And I used to live up the top of a hill, right? So we used to I used to run across a bridge. People look at me funny anyway, like because they're kind of walking home, and you're running back. You're fully dressed up, like you're like, right, come on, right, running. Then I had a hill to go up, and the hill was a decent hill, right, to run up. Like I don't enjoy doing it now. Running up there once again in your shoes, your loves or whatever they were at the time. Get up there, then I've got the last little bit, and sometimes I used to think that I was like, so I'd get home. I was with my parents at the time, and it was like, right, I'm at home. I've now got to be quiet, trying to tiptoe. I must be breathing out of everywhere, right?
As well, so
smashing through. It's like, I think I'm sneaking around. There's no sneaking around. I banged into everything. I'm breathing like super heavy.
I think I did it because I didn't want to pay for a taxi home. Say if I find myself on my own, I'm like, it's only like 3 miles from St Ives or whatever, or 2.5 miles. I can run that.
Brilliant, I love that. Save yourself a £5, but I'll run.
It was more, on your own. I'm like, I'm not having it. I can get home in 20 minutes.
This actually, once again, let's talk alcohol, right? So we've talked middle-age spread, which we've discussed about, like, it is possible. You got to realise it's going to be tougher. You got to be aware of what you're consuming. Taking a little bit more pride in what you're doing. If you really want to get it, unfortunately, it might come up with other areas first. It takes a little bit longer, but it will happen. As say, hormonally, it gets a little bit tougher as well. But there's no excuse just to stop, right? So if it makes you unhappy, then you've got to focus on that thing. When we talk about people looking at changing their nutrition, their diet, often the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, it's all right for you though, you don't really drink or anything, and you don't do this, and you eat well, and I'm like, well, hang on, oh, stop there. Right, I do drink, right? I don't drink every day. And when I do drink, sometimes I drink to excess, which is probably not great, but I try not to. But even then, you know, if you're putting back 5 or 6 pints, 200 plus calories a go minimum, right? You're looking at 1,500 calories that people wouldn't even like really account for, right? They just wouldn't even think about it.
A couple of times a week is probably the norm.
And yeah, and you know, definitely, I know a lot of people that have 1 or 2 glasses of wine. We've talked about this so many times, and once again, don't get me wrong, I am so not telling you people not to drink or do whatever, because once again, I do drink, and there's sometimes I'll have a drink on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, it might happen. There's certain things fall on events or days or birthdays or a social thing. But if you're somebody who really is looking to try and lose weight, right? If you're in a program or something where it's like there's no alcohol for 6 weeks, a lot of them do that, and there's a good reason for it. Because the reality is, we've talked about it again, time and time again, when you have that drink, you don't really want to exercise too much the next day. You may go for a walk, you may have a bit of a fuzzy head. What do we do when we have a drink? We eat crisp peanuts, we eat snacks, we wake up the next morning, we probably have bad decisions on that. You know, we probably consume more than we even know. You know, when you're drinking, stuff like your measurements might be different if you're pouring at home. And all these things happen quite naturally, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. And maybe you want to have a short time when you're intensified, like I'm saying, if you're really concentrating and nailing it down, yeah, you can drop it. But if you know you're the person that's done it before, and you've done dry January, and then February becomes like, right, 1st of February, woo, biz. Is it a great mentality? Is it a great way of doing things? No. But if you can go into it and go, right, listen, I'm gonna maybe knock on the head for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if that's cool with you, fine. But then it's almost like coming out of the reverse diet sort of thing. It's like going, right, well, what can I do? How can I get the drinks in? Right, do I have a switch out my drinks for something that's a little bit of a lighter calorie thing? Do I skip a drink every now and again? Or am I just going to go, right, I'm going to have 1 or 2 drinks on this night and make it something that I enjoy more maybe, rather than becoming a habit that you do daily or you know, where you go on for a big sesh or whatever else it is, just being a bit smart around it. And you can still lose weight, right? This is what I'm trying to say to people, is you can still lose weight. It's not an impossibility, it just somewhat makes it harder for most people, because once again, like we said earlier, you go to the cinema, you think, I'm going to take something with me, I'm going to have a snack, so I'm sitting down watching it. What do we tend to do when we drink? As I say, we tend to either be socialising, snacking, eating, and like everybody, we tend to drop our guard a little bit, and you know, our inhibitions drop, and it's a bit like, nah, and you get that, I don't care.
The trouble is now, at the moment, I think people are been under pressure. It's gotten to more of a habit where everyone's been at home and they've bought more alcohol than they probably wanted, just because it's there, and like, oh, I'll have a couple of bottles, and a bottle of wine once it's open, that's why we'll just finish it. And it does add up. It's the consistency of having that obviously puts you in a calorie excess, rather than actually, you know, most people don't go, well, they do, as we've seen this weekend, they do go to the pub and go crazy, but I think when you're there and you're paying for it, drink by drink, it's a little bit different. If you've got it all in at home, just go to the cupboard or fridge and crack another.
Well, and that's another thing, is right, when it's at home, it's accessible, and I was speaking to somebody who never, well, myself, right, for instance, I don't drink at home. I just don't. It's just not something I've never done, and I'm quite happy about it, and I don't whatever. But when you've got no other choice, because you're not allowed to go out and do whatever, and then you have a barbecue, well then, not be funny, I'm the person that will buy beers, you know, and I actually set this up, right, perhaps now put them in a separate cooler, right, because we had people having a social distance barbecue. I put beers in their cooler, because I didn't want them to come and not have any beers, so they bought their own and drank their own, to be fair. But I ended up buying beers at my house, which I never had beers at my house, and it sounds terrible as a host, but we don't really have people around to drink anyway. So I'm now sat there, well I was anyway, with a case of beers in there. And then it's like, right, okay, it is easier on a social or whatever to take a couple of beers, where maybe before I just wouldn't have bothered. I'd have maybe gone and got myself I don't know, Pepsi Max or something like that, and just wouldn't have been fussed about it on, say, a Friday evening. But then I'm like, right, okay, well I've got a couple of beers there, maybe I'll crack those whilst this is going on. It's like, because it's there, it's more tempting than what, I mean, the beauty is obviously Sue being pregnant, you know, she's not drinking, so I don't really want to sit there and drink by myself anyway, but I do know from other people saying they've got cases of beer sitting around at home, that they're likely to have them, because it's, once again, it's more accessible. But what we're trying to say is, do you have to be teetotal to lose weight? No. Absolutely not. If you're someone who really enjoys a drink, the reality is, if you're someone who's drinking 5, 3, 2, however many nights a week, and you just reduce that, and everything else was to stay the same, then you've probably reduced the amount of calories going in, and potentially any sneaky snacks that come along with it, and maybe you'll flip that time into exercise, then there's a chance you'll lose weight anyway. So it's almost by default, the fact that you drink so much before, just reducing that, you could lose weight and still be drinking. So you don't have to go that cold turkey side.
It's more the, I think, the habits around what your goal is at that time. So if someone's not got a goal, they're probably not going to be that focused on cutting out alcohol. It doesn't really matter. It probably does deep down. They're like, I shouldn't be taking this much in, shouldn't be eating this, that and the other. But really they're like, well, I've got more important things to worry about, so I'm just going to enjoy it. And then they're going to worry about it later. It's easier to put something off to the future than sort of worry about it in the moment, right? So and I think we probably have similar habits that we put in place when we do want to diet hard, and it's looking for lower calorie things. So I might get a crate of Diet Coke. Is it the best thing? Has it got artificial sweeteners in? Yeah. Is it the best thing? Probably not. But 0 calories. I'm going to rather fill up with a Diet Coke than maybe go to a beer or to something calorific or to snacks or whatever. Sugar-free jelly, I put that in the fridge so there's something there to snack on versus, the kids might have biscuits or crisps or something in there. So you've got to try and make it easy for yourself, basically. So if you're going to have a crate of alcohol or bottles of wine in the cupboard, fridge, it's just too easy to get it, right? So put it out of place, make yourself go and get something that you want versus actually having it to hand. It might, that's the thing, it might cost you more. You may go shopping and go, that's a deal. Get a whole box of that for the cost of like 2 pints. I'll just get that. And then it's there and you've got 16 beers versus having to go to the part of actually pay and like spend a couple of, spend a tenner and like, okay, well that's about it, right? I'm done. Versus spending the same amount and getting 4 times as much and doing it all to yourself.
It's interesting. You soon see, as I say, when you're looking to reduce your calories and things like that, and when you start to look at these things, I think this will be the tough thought for today. And I'd like to bring this into something that we can think about, or something we haven't thought about, or something you may want to think about, is during this time, right, this 12, 13 week time, it's prevalent that those people whose health isn't at its peak, right? People who've got, I suppose, underlying health issues, okay, and certain things they can't control, obviously that's one thing, but then those people who just quite clearly aren't maybe looking after themselves as well as they should be, right? And I do believe, and I'm not trying to shame anyone here, but I do believe there are people who aren't necessarily looking at their health in the best. I'm not saying I'm perfect, you're perfect, I'm not saying any of this, but during this 12 weeks, we have been, it's come to the forefront, those people who are, heavily overweight, those people who've got this, that and the other, that maybe due to bad lifestyle, bad living, we know that if you're not feeding your body good nutrients and things, that it's not going to be able to battle and fight and be in its healthy.
Suppressed immune system in any way, shape or form, you've been called out almost.
And that's it. We're looking at what we're doing now, is what we're doing for our health, our immunity, right? How are we building, are we looking to build a strong immune system? But more so, have we actually spent any of this time that we may have had excess in, we may not have, or even if you haven't, it's being highlighted right now. Right now, you may be sitting listening to this at 20, 30, 40, 50. Think about in the next 10, 20, 30 years maybe, right? What are you doing for your body to give yourself the best opportunity that if something horrendous like this comes along again, that you are able to fight it with all your armoury because you've looked after your body, right? Have you looked into reading something or looking at what is actually beneficial for your body? Now, it sounds really, really simple and really, really daft. If you are not exercising, on average, say 30 minutes a day, and I'm not talking about doing HIIT sessions, I'm not talking about throwing weights around, I'm talking about getting up and going for a walk, right? If you can, if you've got the ability to, or doing something that's beneficial for you, why not? Because that is not a long time, right? It is hugely beneficial. Nobody's arguing that. There's nobody out there saying, oh no, that's actually really detrimental to your health. Everybody's telling you it's a good thing.
Too busy. That's the argument comes in.
Are you looking at what you're consuming? Absolutely everybody, once again, nobody's arguing it, that if you're consuming good, nutritious food, it helps your body, right? It helps being able to battle anything. It gives you the support system, everything that you need is through what we consume, right? Are you looking at what those foods are? Because there's confusion out there, don't get me wrong, there's what's good and what's bad, But a lot of that's due to or focusing on weight loss, right? Let's look at what health, what health boosting foods are there out there as such, promoting good health. We know that highly processed foods, you know this. I mean, if we would sit down and ask a 5-year-old, right, like something very obvious, like a cookie, what's better than versus an apple or a banana, even they will be able to tell you that what's naturally better for us. We're adults, right?
Ask my kids. Actually,
that's it, yeah.
Then they'll pick what they want.
Yeah.
No, not what you want. What's better for you?
Yeah, exactly.
They'll probably pick the cookie
because it's better for you, because it makes me happy.
It tastes better.
But we know as adults that yes, you are allowed it. We are allowed it. But we also know that we talk about it a lot of the time, 80-20, but if we can do the more nutrient-dense foods, right, the less processed foods, the majority of the time, we're going to give ourselves a better opportunity. So if you haven't looked into what could benefit your body, and it's not been drummed into your head a million times about exercising, feeding yourself, getting out, getting daylight, breathing exercises. I mean, these are even going a little bit further. I mean, it's crazy to say that we should be looking at taking time to breathe and de-stress and sleep. What a ridiculous thing to say. But let's just start at let's just start at the basics, right? Try and get moving. And try and give yourself good foods. If you're not looking at your life right now, with everything that's going on around us, then in all honesty, if something like this comes around again, you've only got yourself to blame, right? Because this is a real wake-up call to everybody to look at their health. That's my tough thought. I don't want to sound like morbid on that or like feeling low, but I just want people to respect and look after their body. You get one of them, right? Now, there's not a lot we can do about our faces, but there's a lot we can do about our body, so certain things we can and can't change. If you're not happy with it, listen, let's do as much as you can to do to make you happy and feel better. You will feel so much better. You gotta feel good, right?
Yeah.
Feel as best as you can feel.
I feel pretty good driving some Haribo into. So.
I'm going to smash a load of Haribo
what
now.
Have you got, what's the choice? Star Mix?
Today, well, my first choice would be Star Mix. Today we've got quite an intense workout, so I'm questioning. I have got the bag in there. I think it's Kiddie Mix, which isn't a good choice.
One, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. But actually, there's a new one. I don't know if it's new or not. It's called Funky Mix. Oh, the texture on those bad boys. It's like a weird. Listen, you have to find it. It's not an everyday one. It's got like cola bowls, but good cola bowls, good straws.
One last thought. When you go to a foreign country and you see something you've never seen before on the Haribo front.
Go get it.
What is that? That is completely new. Yeah.
You got it. Got it.
It's like some weird little foreign version of it. Brilliant.
Yeah, you've got to try new things.
It's obviously in their language and stuff, but it's fine. But you give it a go.
Yeah, try Haribo.
Actually, that's amazing. You can never find them again.
Perfect. Guys, thank you very, very much. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully you've got some bits out of that, and we'll be heading back, and soon we're going to get some, when we're allowed, get more guests and bits and bobs.
Seat we filled.
Bits and bobs going on. That's going to be fantastic, and we'll catch you soon. New setup as well.
Yeah.
Right. Peace.